Tonight on CTV News at 6, passengers squished in.
You just straighten out your legs there?
Video from a WestJet flight shows the airline's new, smaller seat configuration.
You can hear us joking and laughing in the video because it felt like a joke.
The struggle for some small businesses contending with tariffs, inflation, and construction.
10% being down is a lot, especially at Christmas when that's your break or make month.
And rough ride.
Bad, bad, bad.
Edmontonians waiting for snowplows and a big melt to fix rutted residential streets.
It's not good, but I'm fighting the road, man. Like my vehicle went south, go to like that.
Temperatures jumped in a big way today, and it looks like the mild conditions are sticking around.
CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Jeff Hastings.
Good evening. A local family's video showing cramped conditions on one of WestJet's new reconfigured planes is making the rounds online. WestJet says this is the new reality for some of its fleet. CTV's Nariman Issa joins us now. Nariman, what can you tell us about these new seats?
Well, Jeff, WestJet says it's making some changes to its all-economy cabin layout on some of its aircraft. It's adding an extra row by varying the legroom between 28 and 38 inches. Amanda Schmidt says her 6'3" father could barely fit in his seat.
Dad, can you just straighten out your legs there?
Impossible.
You just straighten out your legs.
Straighten up my knees to the front.
Mom, how about you?
Yeah, well, I'm going to be sharing my leg space with him.
I mean, you can hear us joking and laughing in the video because it felt like a joke.
Amanda Schmidt and her parents flew to the Dominican over the holidays. Now, video shows her parents cramped in their seats with a little legroom. She says of the 4 planes they took, their flight from Edmonton to Toronto was the only plane with the reconfigured seats. She says her father was moved up a few rows up to a different seat with more legroom. Schmidt says she felt unsafe in the new seats.
If it came down to an emergency evacuation or going into the brace position, and you physically can't do that, you physically can't get your head between your knees, and you physically can't hardly get out of your seat to get to an emergency exit, it's pretty hard to believe that safety is at the forefront of every decision they're making.
WestJet says the smaller legroom is part of its cost-saving measures on some of its aircraft. It also says the seats comply with Transport Canada's safety requirements. Now, WestJet says a total of 21 aircraft have been reconfigured. Now, when booking online, you can check if you're on one of those planes by looking for the economy seats only indicator. Jeff.
All right, Nariman, thank you. Nariman Issa live for us tonight. With residential street clearing not yet started, drivers are contending with poor road conditions caused by snow and ice buildup. Seeing more customers with damage caused by road ruts. As CTV's Merrick Takash reports, those drivers may be able to get some money for repairs from the city.
For many drivers, the consensus on road conditions in Edmonton is clear.
Bad, bad, bad.
The city says it's working 24/7 to clear main and arterial roads before moving on to residential streets.
I wish I could see some equipment on the road, but I don't know where they are.
We had the snowfall over a week ago, right? So I don't know what the holdup is.
Snow has been building up on residential roads for weeks, creating ruts and problems for drivers.
People get stuck real easy in that stuff. I think that it's been an overwhelming year, and they got their work cut out for them.
Mechanics around the city also have their work cut out for them. Trail Tire's downtown location has been busy since before Christmas.
It doesn't seem to be getting any better at this moment, and I don't see a lot of the streets getting cleared. So I think it's going to be good for business, not necessarily good for customers.
Todd Vincent says he's seeing more customers because residential roads haven't been cleared.
They're actually catching the snow that's not getting cleared up, and they're actually bouncing off the sides of the cars and wrecking fenders and bumpers and stuff like that. So stuff that not normally would be ripped off or getting ripped off because the snow is not getting cleared.
The city says if you believe your vehicle was damaged because of a rut, you can follow the instructions to submit a claim online. The city is expected to provide an update on residential snow clearing tomorrow afternoon.
It's not good, but I'm fighting the road, man. Like my vehicle went south, go to like that.
For now, drivers will have to contend with the conditions. Merrick Takash, CTV News, Edmonton.
A local small business says its sales dropped 10% over the holidays. The owner says part of the problem is recent bridge closures for construction. As Connor Hogg reports, Edmonton's Chamber of Commerce says small businesses won't be able to shoulder the city's lack of planning for much longer.
The Christmas sale at Heart of the Home on High Street has been extended into the new year, adding a little more time to the tail end of the all-important holiday shopping season.
I think we've been pretty good. We've had our regular customers coming in, supporting us.
The owner says that doesn't mean things couldn't be better. Sales are down about 10% from where they were last year. About 5,450 people walked through the doors from October to December, about 350 fewer than the same time last year.
10% being down is a lot, especially at Christmas when that's your break or make month.
The Springers say it's hard to tell if sales are down because of the general state of the economy or the state of the area around the store. In September, the Wellington Bridge closed for construction, cutting off access to the area from the west and south sides.
People getting rerouted through the neighborhood. It makes it that much harder for people who don't spend a lot of time down here.
About 30% of their sales happen over the holiday season. So to hear when a business is not making as much as they need to make to really sustain the rest of the year is disappointing.
Heather Thompson with the Edmonton Chamber of Commerce says data over the past shopping season has been inconsistent. Thompson says Heart of the Home's end-of-the-year sales slump isn't the only one the Chamber is aware of, which points to additional factors outside of tariffs and inflation.
If it's not easy to get to, the consumer will go somewhere else or they'll just go online. So it is disappointing to see so many businesses that are being impacted by the different infrastructure upgrades.
Thompson says the best thing the city can do now is provide more information to small business owners and make sure projects finish on time.
Everybody's fingers are crossed that they maybe finish early and get it done and they have no complications so business can go on as usual.
The city says construction crews have made significant progress on the new bridge and it's still on track to be completed by the fall. Connor Hogg, CTV News, Edmonton.
Water is flowing again at a Southside townhouse complex. More than 200 suites at Southridge Townhomes had their taps turned off on New Year's Day. The complex owner says there was a water main break and the water was shut off for repairs. It brought in portable toilets and delivered daily jugs of water to help tenants. Tenants received a message this morning from the owner saying all water systems have been restored and are operating normally. Prime Minister Mark Carney is responding to what the capture of Venezuela's president could mean for Alberta's oil industry. CTV's Miriam Valdez-Carletti has more on how Ottawa is reacting.
With America's grasp on Venezuela, Canada's customer south of the border could look elsewhere for its oil. While in Paris today, Prime Minister Mark Carney addressed what his government is doing to explore other markets for Alberta's oil.
We've got competitive product and we've been diversifying our markets, and that's one of the reasons why we signed the comprehensive MOU with Alberta. So we'll be working towards that.
While Venezuela sits on the world's largest oil reserves, Carney sees another Canadian advantage.
It's been our view, and we're working towards this, that Canadian oil will be competitive because it is low risk.
Venezuela produces a very similar quality of crude oil as Alberta.
ATB chief economist Mark Parsons says Venezuela's unstable leadership could put investment there at risk, and it will take time and money to outpace Canadian production.
Billions of dollars of investment needs to take place, and it'll take several years to get any meaningful impact on oil production in that country.
And in Canada, we take a very long time to decide anything.
One security expert says Canada needs to speed up when it comes to taking economic action. He's concerned Trump has eyes on Canada.
I worry very much that the 51st state, Trump has a strategy for making Canada a 51st state. And that strategy is going to be significant economic pressure.
Lepreche believes the moves have to come before, when the review of the free trade agreement begins this summer. Miriam Valdez-Carletti, CTV News, Edmonton.
Deloitte Canada says oil prices will likely hover around their current levels through most of the year. The latest energy forecast shows key U.S. oil benchmark West Texas Intermediate will average about $58 U.S. a barrel this year. That's around where it's trading now. It's about 20% lower than it was this time last year and about 12% below its 2025 average. Experts say the drop is due to global oversupply, with production outpacing consumption. The Alberta government has a new website focused on its proposed new pipeline to the BC coast. The webpage shows the status of the most recent efforts. The Prime Minister signed a memorandum of understanding with Alberta to expedite a pipeline project. It needs support from the BC government and First Nations. The Alberta government hopes the website will help attract an investor. It will submit the proposal to Canada's Major Projects Office by July the 1st. Public school boards in Edmonton and Calgary say they've removed dozens of books from libraries to comply with the new Alberta government order. The provincial policy requires school boards to remove books with explicit images or illustrations of sexual content. The Edmonton Public School Board says it has removed 34 books and doesn't plan to share the list publicly. Calgary's Board of Education says it has removed 44 books. It also won't provide a list. Two veteran forwards who are expected to play big roles with the Oilers this season will miss tonight's game. Andrew Mangiapane and Trent Frederick will sit out when the Oilers host the Nashville Predators at Rogers Place. Mangiapane has 5 goals through 40 games. Frederick has 2 goals in 41. Head coach Chris Knobloch says this is a chance for both players to reset.
Things haven't worked out, and not that it's over, but I think that we've felt that they haven't played as we've expected, and I think that there's more for them to give us. But also we've got some young guys that have deserved to get some opportunities to play.
On Saturday, the Oilers will honor Leon Draisaitl for reaching 1,000 career points ahead of their game against the LA Kings. Last month, Draisaitl became the 103rd NHL player and first German-born player to reach the milestone. That was a temperature swing today, Josh.
Yeah, daytime highs have been in the minus teens for the last 4 consecutive days. And then today, we thought we'd get to about -2 for a daytime high. We beat that. Look at the temperature calendar. 0 for a daytime high. That's the warmest we've been since it was -1 on New Year's Eve. It was actually above 0 by a couple of degrees on the 30th of December, just a week ago. -16 this morning, right around average. It was a chilly start to the day, but warmed up quickly through this afternoon. We did have a little bit of cloud cover that broke and allowed some sunshine in through this afternoon. Take a look outside right now with the CTV drone, and it's tough to see because it's dark, but there is still some clear sky over parts of the city, and to the north and to the south, you have some thicker cloud cover. We're at -6 in downtown Edmonton right now, still -3 at the Villanova Airport. YG's dropped to -7. Here's that cloud cover just off to the south of the Edmonton area, while skies are pretty clear. Off to the north, we'll be under partly cloudy skies, it looks like, through the early evening hours. Just after midnight, about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, there might be a couple flurries that roll through, so there might be a dusting of snow on the ground when you wake up tomorrow morning. No heavy snow, though. We'll get to about -2 or -3 for a high tomorrow afternoon, so just slightly cooler than today, and we'll probably stay slightly below 0 for highs Thursday, Friday as well. Saturday, though, Saturday starts a string of days with above 0 daytime highs. I'll show you that in a couple minutes.
Okay, thanks, Josh. Coming up next, targeted for searching for her missing sister.
He tried to FaceTime me, and then when I didn't answer, he was like, "Oh, you have no last words for your sister, you pig."
How AI is being used to perpetrate cyber crimes, and Edmonton police have laid more charges in connection with a motorcycle gang investigation.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Edmonton police have laid more charges in an organized crime investigation. Police say One Order MC is closely aligned with the Hells Angels and has chapters across eastern Canada. After a year's investigation, officers seized drugs, guns, and cash in raids last October at 40 locations in Alberta and BC. 7 people were charged last November. An additional 6 people are now facing charges ranging from conspiracy to commit assault, conspiracy to commit extortion, and possession of stolen property. A Calgary woman desperate to find her missing sister has been targeted on social media. She was sent an AI-generated photo of the missing woman and demanded Bitcoin for her return. CTV's Jacqueline Wilson reports.
Shelby Erickson won't give up hope. Her sister, missing since last spring, is alive.
She always was such a loving person and caring person. Like, she cared for all animals and all people.
Deanna Erickson was last seen getting off of a bus near the Shoppers Drug Mart in Walden on June 6th around 11 p.m., seeming disoriented. Shelby thinks she asked a stranger for a ride home.
Deanna didn't just take off, or she didn't just vanish. Like, she has to, someone knows something, and they're just not coming forward.
Police say the case remains open, and Shelby frequently posts about her search on social media. And that's where, in December, someone tried to scam her out of $10,000. The fraudsters used artificial intelligence to make a fake picture of Deanna tied up and being held hostage in a van, and told her to send them the money through Bitcoin or they'd kill her.
At that time, I was just like in shock and so scared, and I was going to go to the police right away.
Police say artificial intelligence has become an increasing problem, and missing person cases are a target.
We're starting to see in missing persons cases where victims are being contacted by criminals who are trying to extort them out of funds. With the AI images increasing and getting so sophisticated and so good, it is so important to be very skeptical of any images you see online.
Still ahead on CTV News at 6, a new installment of the crime tapes.
I have no comment on my testimony. About the time frame of when you got there and the phone call that you made? No, I have nothing to say at this time.
A look back at a flawed double murder investigation involving two co-workers at a Sherwood Park paper plant in 1994. Stay with us.
A few flurries possible overnight tonight. Could see some flurries or light snow on Friday as well. But temperatures, the big story, as we were above average today and will stay above average for at least the next week.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Midwinter warm-up is coming soon for Edmonton. While most will appreciate the above-zero temperatures, a quick thaw can pose issues for homeowners. CTV's Gates Guarin has more on how you can prepare.
Snowpile depth on streets and homes we haven't seen in decades is about to shrink. A warming trend should bring a quick melt and some sloppy conditions.
That's where we typically start to see some of the ponding issues as well as melting.
A few days of above average temperatures can become a problem for homeowners, especially with the amount of snow that's already dropped. The city maxed out at 54 centimeters of snow over the holidays. The average at the end of December, 10 centimeters.
What we see very often is poor ventilation, and with the amount of snow that we had in the last few weeks, this year has been a pretty big challenge for a lot of homeowners where they had their ventilation plugged by the snow.
Roofer Fernand Gibo is prepping this home with new ventilation. He estimates around 50 to 70 calls this time of year, mostly due to condensation.
If the attic space is experiencing any sort of condensation and excessive moisture, all that moisture will end up on the drywall, which is your ceiling.
He says mold is one of the biggest issues if things go unchecked, but there are signs you can keep an eye out for.
Where you have your eaves troughs, make sure that those are exposed, that if you do have ice buildup that you're removing that. So again, water off your roof can get off the roof and onto the ground.
Taking a peek once in a while at the ceiling, see if there are any sort of stains, moistures, elevated moistures, or any stains around the bathroom exhaust fan.
And it's not just around your home where you can help prevent issues like flooding. Keeping catch basins clear of snow and debris out on your street will help crews out this winter.
You're not only helping yourself, but you're helping the other residents in your community.
Although we're still months away from spring, preparing now can save you time and money down the road. Gates Guarin, CTV News, Edmonton.
There's no doubt going to be a mess out there when it really warms up, but you know what? It'll be great.
Yeah,
wonderful.
I mean, we're used to this, right? Yeah. Temperatures go up and down all the time in the winter, and they are headed up over the course of the next couple of days. There's what it looks like outside right now. The Action Furnace River Valley Skycam. Action Furnace, fixed rider, it's free. It's -6 in Edmonton right now after hitting 0 for a daytime high earlier in the day today. We also got to 0 in Grand Prairie and Jasper. Look at Red Deer, though. Only -7. -8 in Lloydminster. Fort McMurray, though, is a couple of degrees warmer at -4. So temperatures over the next couple of days, a little cooler than today, somewhere in the -2 to -4 range for daytime highs. That is above average, though, -7 the average daytime high. And then look at this, Saturday through Wednesday of next week. I've got 3 to 5. I mean, we could be anywhere between +2 and +8 for daytime highs for this string of 5 straight days. It does look like towards the end of next week, temperatures don't get cold, but will come out of that real warm spell and settle back a little closer to average. So around the middle of the month, temperatures back closer to that -5 range for daytime highs. Cloudier skies across the south. We also have a wind warning for southwestern Alberta. We got a low pressure system that's going to move into northern Alberta. It brings some flurries or some light snow to northern sections overnight tonight. And you can see about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, see that little pocket right there? There's a weak little cold front, more like a cool front that'll push through. Temperatures aren't going to drop all that much, only about a 2 or 3 degree swing between today and tomorrow. But behind this, we do have that slight chance of few flurries overnight tonight. So if you wake up tomorrow morning, there's a dusting of snow outside. That's where it came from. It's no big system that's going through, though. It's not going to dump any significant amounts of snow on us. And then for Wednesday, it looks like mix of sun and cloud through the afternoon after a break in those clouds midday. You get some lunchtime sunshine. Thursday, another low slides across the north. Again, most of the snow is going to be across northern Alberta. Doesn't look like anything too heavy, but could see a couple centimeters there. And again, we'll see some cooler air sucked in behind this. Now, I think that mainly impacts eastern Alberta for Friday. Here's tomorrow. Not bad. Still in that light blue zone Thursday. Friday, look at this cold air that dives all the way south into the Lloydminster, Vermilion areas. Daytime highs, at least in the -teens. You might see daytime highs in parts of eastern Alberta in the -20s on Friday. Here in Edmonton, we'll be on the edge. So I've got -2 in the forecast for Friday. I mean, if this cooler air backs a little further, maybe we're -4 or -5, but we're not into the Arctic air. And then Saturday, all of a sudden, this mild flow rolls in, and that's what sticks around, as you saw, almost all of next week. It's -9 in Fort McMurray right now, -7 and -9 in Grand Prairie and Red Deer. We're at -6 in Edmonton. Temperatures will slide to about -10, -11 overnight tonight. And then by tomorrow morning, should be in the -8 range on our way to a high of about -2 or -3 with light wind. -4 and -2 for highs Thursday, Friday, with that chance of flurries, especially late in the day Friday. It doesn't look like it's going to be really heavy snow, though. And there's the warm air, a string of days above zero by several degrees starting Saturday.
All right. Thanks, Josh. A murder investigation involving 2 co-workers at a Sherwood Park paper plant in 1994 was flawed from the start, with the RCMP mistaking the execution-style killings for industrial accidents. Then the court case against their suspect fell apart as well. It would take years before the public knew just how far investigators and the Crown went in the effort to convict Jason Dix. Here now is David Owasik with our latest story from the crime tapes.
The October 1994 double murder investigation into the deaths of James Dieter and Tim Ordzik began poorly for the Mounties. It ended even worse. Dieter and Ordzik were repairing a baler at a paper recycling plant called CPL on the edge of Sherwood Park, and when one of them didn't arrive home, his wife had a neighbor drive her to the work site. That's when the body of her husband, Tim Ordzik, was discovered, and nearby the body of his younger co-worker, James Dieter. Early speculation from the first people on scene was that it looked like the 2 men died by electrocution. From there, first responders started echoing that as the cause of death, and finally RCMP officers as well were repeating death by electrocution. By the time an autopsy was done 36 hours later, the police had already given the crime scene over to occupational health and safety. The coroner found both men had suffered 3 small caliber bullet wounds to the head, execution style. How was it missed? We found out at court years later, a story we've stored away on our crime tapes.
When the bodies of James Dieter and Tim Ordzik were discovered, those on scene called it electrocution. Corporal Donald Drizel was the most senior officer to arrive at CPL packaging plant on October 1st, 1994, long after many others. At 9:41 p.m., he talked to paramedics, EMTs, plant employees, and initial officers. It took all of 2 minutes. On the stand, he admits all of those people I talked to for a few seconds. Under cross-examination, Jason Dix's lawyer asks, "How long did you observe the bodies?" His reply, "A few seconds, sir." Within that 2 minutes, Dressel phones Occupational Health and Safety to tell them of a double electrocution. Today, he attempted to avoid our cameras, standing beside a court constable as they left the building through the underground parkade.
I have no comment on my testimony. About the time frame of when you got there and the phone call that you made? No, I have nothing to say at this time.
Dressel was a constable at the time Dieter and Ordzik were murdered. He's now a corporal. This is the man who was in charge of the Sherwood Park detachment that night. He made the decision not to go to the crime scene. He also released electrocution as cause of death before the medical examiner discovered bullet holes in the two men's bodies. He was reprimanded by superiors for both actions.
The reprimand, the two-part reprimand, did that come as a shock to you? Sir?
Just told you I wasn't answering any questions.
Okay.
Corporal Randall Marchand retired in 1997. He did not end his career in the Sherwood Park detachment.
Despite the errors at the crime scene, investigators quickly identified a suspect, Jason Dix, a man who knew both of the victims. A motive? Perhaps that James Dieter, the younger victim, had been socializing with the same woman the married Dix had been having an affair with. The theory continued that Tim Ordzik may have simply been in the wrong place at the wrong time. Nearly 2 years after the slayings, the Mounties laid murder charges and made sure the media got pictures of Jason Dix. Here now is my old colleague, Graham Neal, covering court back in 1996.
Jason Dix was wearing the same T-shirt and shorts he had on when he was brought into custody yesterday. He showed no emotion as 2 first-degree murder charges were read to him. Dix glanced briefly over at the packed courtroom before being led away. The whole matter lasted only a few minutes. Dix did not enter a plea. The families of the victims say it's the first time they've ever seen the man.
We don't know a motive. We have no idea who this person is. Don't know how he knew my husband or James at all.
Tim Ordzik and James Dieter did in fact know Dix. He worked for a scale company that had a contract at the plant. When he was working there, he had to report to both Ordzik and Dieter.
The families of the 2 victims would wait nearly 2 more years for Jason Dix to stand trial in the killings of Tim Ordzik and James Dieter. Far from a conviction, Jason Dix's trial would start to uncover the lengths the RCMP and the prosecutor were willing to go to in their effort to have Dix found guilty. That's coming up on our next chapter of the crime tapes.
Still ahead, the future of Venezuela.
The initial hopes that the departure of Maduro might represent a change in this hated regime have been dashed.
Who controls the oil-rich country, and Quebec's unintentional ice castle. Stay with us.
Programming brought to you by Basement Systems Edmonton. Contact us today for all things basement-y.
Now that Venezuela's dictator Nicolas Maduro has been captured and charged with drug trafficking, many are asking what's next for that country. The U.S. president says he will run Venezuela, but it's unclear what the plan is. With more, here's CTV's Joy Malvin in Washington.
The U.S. president taking a victory lap at the renamed Trump Kennedy Center.
It was brilliant tactically.
Donald Trump reveling in the American military might that captured former Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, now in a U.S. prison charged with narco-terrorism.
We had a lot of boots on the ground, but it was amazing. And think of it, nobody was killed, and on the other side, a lot of people were killed. Unfortunately, I say that, soldiers. Cubans, mostly Cubans.
Tensions are high in Caracas after gunfire erupted overnight. Armed military police now patrolling the streets. The U.S. president insists he's in charge and will run Venezuela and help rebuild its oil infrastructure. Maria Machado, the democratically elected opposition leader who's in hiding, vowed to return, praised Trump's actions.
What he has done, as I said, is historic. It's a huge step towards a democratic transition.
And yet the Trump administration isn't focused on that, supporting Maduro's hand-picked vice president as leader, saying the U.S. can work with her.
The initial hopes that the departure of Maduro might represent a change in this hated regime have been dashed, seemingly endorsed by the United States, a woman who's got significant amounts of blood on her hands.
Trump's national security strategy suggests America will exert more control. The State Department posting this with the words, "This is our hemisphere." The president warns Colombia could be next, that country beefing up troops on the Venezuelan border, and Greenland on edge after Trump's closest advisor said this.
For the United States to secure the Arctic region, to protect and defend NATO and NATO interests, obviously Greenland should be part of the United States.
Donald Trump's threats have rattled several countries as many question what comes next for the people of Venezuela and when or if there will be elections. Joy Melvin, CTV News, Washington.
Prime Minister Mark Carney in Paris today for an international summit pledged his support for Greenland, which is a territory of Denmark. He made the comments ahead of a meeting with the Danish Prime Minister.
The future of Greenland and Denmark are decided solely by the people of Denmark. In Greenland, we know that.
Carney says Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister and the Governor-General will also visit Greenland next month. The Prime Minister is also discussing Ukraine's security priorities. Allies in the coalition of the willing signed a statement pledging their support. CTV's Mike Couture is traveling with the PM.
Ahead of the meeting hosted by French President Emmanuel Macron, Prime Minister Mark Carney said the goal was to finalize security guarantees for Ukraine. World leaders were joined by representatives from the U.S., hoping to build on the momentum towards peace.
Our main objective is to finalize the security guarantees amongst ourselves which create the possibility of a just and lasting peace for Ukraine.
The meeting brought together more than 30 world leaders who make up the coalition of the willing. They agreed to participate in a U.S.-led ceasefire monitoring and verification mechanism, long-term support for Ukraine's armed forces, plus a multinational force to backstop Ukraine's military. There was also agreement on finalizing binding commitments to support Ukraine in the event that Russia breaks the ceasefire. And the countries agreed to deepen long-term defense cooperation with Ukraine.
Following a ceasefire, the UK and France will establish military hubs across Ukraine and build protected facilities for weapons and military equipment to support Ukraine's defensive needs.
Now, Canada's contribution could include troops on the ground as part of that multilateral backstop, something the government is ramping up for.
The largest military buildup in generations, coming over the course of the next 5 years, an additional $80 billion of investment, in part because of issues like this.
U.S. buy-in is key to any plan succeeding, and President Trump's envoy is supportive of this one.
We think we're largely finished with security protocols, which are important so that the people of Ukraine know that when this ends, it ends forever.
Regardless of the result of today's meeting, nothing can be put into place until there is a ceasefire. Prime Minister Carney reiterated the final elements of that need to be negotiated between the U.S., Ukraine, and Russia. Mike Couture, CTV News, Paris.
Protesters clashed with security forces in Tehran's Grand Bazaar today as economic demonstrations in Iran continue. Large-scale protests began last week over the plunging value of Iran's currency and soaring inflation. At least 35 people have now been killed in demonstrations across the country. While authorities have said the protests are legitimate, they have met confrontations with tear gas. Protests are expected to continue with the country's currency falling to a record low yesterday. Edmonton's Ice District Ice Castle has some competition in Quebec. As CTV's Jean-Vier Beauchemin reports, the Eastern Ice Palace was unintended.
Much of this two-story apartment is now locked in ice, frozen in time. Some of the scattered frozen paths look like chiseled ice sculptures, but these were shaped by misfortune. This is an extreme case, says owner Jacques No. The tenant left on vacation and probably wanted to save money on electricity. We know everything is more expensive these days, and he turned off the heat. Now, the owner isn't quite sure when this happened, but the pipes froze, the toilet cracked, and liters of water flowed out and froze in this cold winter. Ice-encased appliances, and it's about 30 centimeters thick on the kitchen floor. This ice castle, as neighbors call it, isn't quite as palatial as Edmonton's, built for fun with its caverns and archways. And it's not exactly as magical as Elsa's castle in Disney's Frozen.
Wow. Now that's ice. I might cry.
The owner here too might have cried, but is busy tending heaters to melt the ice. That was an icicle falling off the ceiling. Once the ice is melted, the unit will have to be stripped and rebuilt to be a cozy, warm home once again. The tenant hadn't paid his rent in over 6 months and has now been evicted. The homeowner says this is a good reminder to us all not to turn the temperature all the way down to keep our homes safe and warm.
Still to come, a move to get more women running.
Women experience a lot of constraints when it comes to supporting things like career, family.
The people behind the Calgary Marathon are getting rid of barriers to help women get into long-distance running. Also ahead.
I think there'll be somebody out with it at the Stampede.
The newest technology keeping Garmin in the arena. Looking at the markets, the Canadian dollar traded for 72 cents to the American dollar. Oil was down $1.19, ending the day at $57.13 U.S. a barrel. Gold closed more than $44 higher. The TSX and Dow Jones both made gains on the day, up 187 points and 484 points, respectively. Garmin Canada is tapping into new sectors of the technology sector as its headquarters in Cochrane grows. The company says it is a small player in a highly fragmented market. It points to innovations like its equine Blaze as examples of its ability to continue gaining market share. The product attaches to a horse's tail, while the sensor gives insight into a horse's health and fitness.
I think there'll be somebody out with it at the Stampede.
In 4 of the past 5 years, the company has grown by 18% or more each year. The growth coincides with a spike in fitness wearables resonating with consumers. That market is now valued at about $60 to $70 billion. An Alberta organization has launched a free training program to get more women interested in marathon training. As CTV's Tim Brooke explains, the long-distance push is already a big hit.
When the Service Calgary Marathon ran through the city last spring, organizers estimate only about 30% of finishers were women. In 2026, there's a concerted effort to boost that number.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
These are just a few of the athletes in Run Calgary's new women's training program.
There's always been a need to really foster women in distance running, and this seemed like the perfect way to segue into something like that.
The program will provide not only group runs, but also valuable resources like step-by-step training plans and online and in-person mentorship. Organizers tell us sometimes women say they can't fit in running while managing a career, a family, or if they have physical limitations.
Your body responds different to the sport regardless of who you are, and so I think coming into the sport with more people hand in hand and just asking all the critical questions is so important. It makes you a better runner.
Fitness coaches, medical professionals, and even psychology experts are involved. They'll help prep the women in the months leading up to the full and half marathons.
And what we're asking participants to do is in line with something that looks accessible, feels accessible, but then that is also paired with the proper supports.
Those supports, both professional and personal. For many of the 800 women who have already signed up for the program, the latter is paramount.
We're all out here for the same reason. We're all training for the same cause, and I think it's really cool that we get to kind of break off and learn more and grow in that process.
Tim Brooke, CTV News, Calgary.
The Oilers and Hockey Edmonton have awarded 3 young athletes $1,000 scholarships ahead of a large hockey tournament.
To be recognized for more than just hockey and for leadership, character, and giving back means so much to us. This award represents the values we try to live by, both on and off the ice.
The Wayne Gretzky Award recognizes young athletes who lead through sportsmanship, academics, and helping their community. The awards were handed out ahead of the 62nd annual Quick Card Edmonton Minor Hockey Week. The tournament features more than 13,000 players from nearly 700 teams. This year's honorary chair is Bill Ross, also known as Mr. Central. He died in May and was a volunteer for more than 60 years. His daughter accepted the honor on his behalf.
Many players may not remember his name, but they carry forward the lessons he helped create. I know my dad would be incredibly proud to be remembered in this way.
Quick Card Edmonton Minor Hockey Week begins with a U9 pond hockey tournament this weekend at Cattail Crossing. More than 900 games will take place between this weekend and January 18th. Coming up, Celebrity Bear.
And he's a great, actually, subject to write a book about, because he's been around humans so much.
Banff National Park's most famous grizzly is featured in a children's book.
Coming up Wednesday in Your Morning Edmonton, January can be financially stressful, but can also be a chance to reset. Ways to change your money habits and take the emotion out of your spending.
Your Morning Edmonton, weekdays.
The most famous grizzly bear in Banff National Park is the Boss. Now, even more people will know about the beloved bear now as the star of a new children's book. CTV's Alicia Fieldberg reports.
He's been caught on camera many times, and now Banff National Park's most famous bear is the subject of a children's book. The Boss has been the dominant grizzly in the area for more than a decade.
And he's a great, actually, subject to write a book about, because he's been around humans so much.
The author's kids love watching bears on National Park's wildlife cameras, which sparked many trips and many more sightings.
Well over 100, maybe close to 200 bears now.
Including the Boss.
We come to Banff quite often, so we actually had the privilege to see him.
That inspired this American author who worked with an Edmonton publisher and a distributor from Dead Man's Flats.
Important to support local culture, right? Respect nature. And creation, and learning a little bit about it.
Our sort of celebrity bear, but it's fantastic. It's exactly the sort of book that we like to support.
The fictional tale depicts the celebrity bear at famous sites in Banff, and one image seems to have inspired his travels.
I think Boss read my book as well. After the book came out, he was spotted in Johnston's Canyon.
The goal is to inspire humans as well, to protect nature and understand the challenges bears face.
They have to learn about coexisting with us as much as we need to keep learning how to be safe around them.
The Boss is the first Canadian bear featured by the author, but likely not the last. She's also planning a book about bears in Jasper National Park. Alicia Fieldberg, CTV News, Calgary.
Temperatures will drop to about -10 or -11 overnight tonight. I think by 8 a.m. tomorrow, though, we'll see temperatures climb back into the -7 range, and we're on our way to about -2 or -3 for a high tomorrow. So cold spell is over. We get to 0 today. We'll be just slightly below 0 for daytime highs tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, which for a lot of people is perfect. There is a slight chance of a few flurries overnight tonight. Better chance late Friday. If you want some even warmer temperatures, Saturday, Sunday, and then the first half of next week is for you. It's going to get awfully sloppy, though. Temperatures well above 0 through the weekend and into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. Bottom line, cold spell's done for a while.
Perfect. Thanks, Josh. Thanks for sharing your time with us. For news anytime, visit our website, ctvnewsedmonton.ca.